Yo, Wagwan, hope you're having a great day. Now, if you didn't know, making these 3 vocal mixing mistakes is making your beats soft, your vocals muddy, and your entire song sound bad. So you need to fix them, and you need to know what these mistakes are. I've personally made these mistakes myself in the past, and honestly, at the time, I didn't have a clue why my songs didn't sound how I wanted them to. Then I discovered how to fix them. So in this video, I'm going to reveal exactly what these 3 vocal mixing mistakes are, and I'm going to show you how to fix them so you can make your bass hit hard, have clearer vocals, and songs that sound professional. Does that sound good to you? Great. Now, if you don't know who I am, I'm Jay Carteret from jcarteret.com, teaching you how to be better at music, online business, and online marketing. This is the #1 spot for musicians and creatives that don't want to be starving artists. So if that sounds like you, click that subscribe button, check out the rest of the content on the channel because you will love it here. Now, let's get straight into this. I'm going to basically be walking you through these 3 mistakes, and in order to illustrate what's going on there, I'm going to basically be using one of my draft tracks, or a track that I'm working on called Trust at the moment, and we will basically look at the correct settings and look at some incorrect settings so that you can get the right stuff going. But again, these are big mistakes that pretty much everyone will make at some point in their artist journey, trying to mix and master their own vocals and that sort of stuff. So definitely stay through to the end so that you can understand how to fix all 3 of these big major mistakes. Okay, let's get into mistake #1. Now, mistake #1 is, it's a bit about mixing, but it's more about the recording process. And obviously mixing is harder if you record terribly. Like if you record and your room isn't treated, or you've got a bunch of reverb, or you're clipping, then you know it's going to be harder to mix. So recording is very, very important, and you need to get it right at the source. You need to get it right at the recording so that your mix becomes easier. So the main mistakes that people make with recording, and this is a mistake that I was making when I first came back to making songs, is recording your vocals too low or too high. Now, you know, if you record your vocals too high, it's gonna clip, and that's gonna be very, very obvious. It's gonna distort, and you'll see that. You'll see that it's over like 1 dB, or you'll see it in the waveform that it's too high, it's clipping, it's turning into a square and that sort of stuff, and you'll hear it distort. So it's very easy to recognize when you're recording in too high, and depending on your audio interface, you might want to turn the input down or whatnot. But basically, if you're recording too low, which is what I was doing, what happens at that point is all the noise in the room, like just air noise, and you could maybe hear a fan in the back. You probably won't hear a fan in the background while you're listening to this, but like, you know, pipes and just electronics that work in it, they make noise even if you're not consciously hearing it all the time. But when you're recording into your mic and you're recording it super low, your vocals are coming in around the same level as the noise in the room. So when you actually compress it, or you turn everything up, you're bringing the noise up with your vocals at the same time, and it's harder to get rid of the noise. So what do you need to do to fix this? Basically, what I do, what's suggested is that you record in your vocals at around -6 dB. Now, honestly, my vocals don't tend to get that loud. So I try to record in my vocals at -6 to 9 dB. I try to get everything around there basically. So if my vocals are at -9, I'm pretty cool, because I have tried to, you know, push my input up more, but this is basically where my ceiling is. It's basically at like -9, -8, you know, that sort of stuff. So if we actually come into my vocal recording channel, which should be like that, if we go to in1, you should see where my vocals are actually coming in. So if we come to, it's not going to show on the master track, is it? So this is about, I don't know. This basically looks like it's clipping at this point, but That's why my vocals was coming in too low, probably because this fader was too low. So yeah, you want your vocals to be at -6, -9, and preferably make sure that the fader isn't too low. So now I can actually turn my input down and everything will actually be fine, because I'll be able to easily hit -6 using this. All right, so yeah, you want your vocals coming in at -6 to -9. That's pretty good. A bonus mistake I want to give you is a mistake that I actually made with this track that we're looking at right now, and that is not recording your vocals at the right BPM. Now this beat is at 151 BPM and I recorded my vocals in at 140 BPM, and the reason why this is a mistake and what this will mess up, it will mess up actually a bunch of stuff for your song, because a lot of effects like reverb and delays will be ruined by you recording in at the wrong BPM, because all those effects generally will basically be based on the BPM. So if you set your delay to a half beat or a quarter note, it will set it to a quarter note at 140 BPM. So if you're making a song at 151 BPM, everything's going to be out of time. Now there is a way to fix this, and I'll be revealing that in the next point. So let's just get straight into that. So the next vocal mixing mistake you are making is you probably have muddy reverb. You got too much reverb, you're slavering it over your vocals, it's clashing with the reverb of your melodies, it's clashing with the reverb of your other vocals, maybe it's even drowning out your vocals and making your vocals sound really, really muddy. Doing this will make your mix sound muddy, it will make your vocals sound muddy, and it will just make everything sound less clear and make everything sound a little bit worse. So how do we fix this? Now, first of all, the first thing that I like to do with my reverbs is EQ it, because you need to take out the low ends, because that will really mess up your mix. If you're adding reverb and you've got a bunch of low end in there, that is going to mess up your bass and whatnot. And I'll generally do a bit of a high cut as well, and I'll leave the mids because that's generally where I want my reverb to be. So that's the first step. I'll give you an example with, yeah, I'll use this plate reverb. Now I have been using a reverb called RVRB. They sent it to me for review. It's by Able Tunes, and I've been quite liking it, to be honest. I haven't used it enough to come out with the full review, but I'll be doing that on my channel at some point. But with this EQ, with this reverb, my bad, it has a built-in EQ, so you can actually get rid of the high end. You can do a cut, and you can cut the low end as well, and do stuff like that. So I could take out, some of the low end, some of the high end, some of the mids, if that's what I wanted to do, and then I just pump it all up to 100% wet, and I send my vocals to another channel. I don't know if that is a big thing that's necessary, but I like to do that. I like to have my reverbs on another channel, and with certain effects you'll want to put them on another channel, especially if you're going to be running a bunch of different vocal lines through the same channel. So I can give you some examples of what's going on here if we basically take off the EQ and play back some vocals. So let me detach this for a second. I'll bring this over here so I can click on here, and we'll play a little bit of this track with no EQ, and then we'll put on the EQ, and it basically just should make things sound a whole lot clearer. But this is also just the plate reverb, so I'll need to turn off my let's do the long haul reverb, because you'll just hear more of a difference. So the reason why I brought up this reverb channel is because I've also got the fruity parametric EQ that comes after this, which is the cut that I'll generally just do to a reverb, like if I was just using a basic reverb that didn't come with EQing. But I wanted to show you that possibility as well. So let's come to this long haul reverb. We'll turn off the plate reverb for now, just so you can hear the difference in this long haul reverb with EQing and without EQing. Now what this is doing is it's cutting out the lows and cutting out the highs and just leaving the mids of the reverb basically. So we've got some mid reverb going on, and let's play it back, and then I'll turn on the EQ so you can kind of hear that. I got too much common sense, yeah. Lesson or a curse, I don't know no more. I can see the light you're showing is pretend, yeah. Why give me your word if it's worthless? Lies gonna lie, that's their purpose. All my friends are dead, all my friends are dead, yeah. Ooh. Okay. There's a bunch of reverb there. There's reverb all over the gaff. There's reverb coming out my nose. There's reverb coming out my ears. There's just reverb all over the place, yeah? Luckily, it's not drowning out my next line of vocals, which we'll talk about, but you can clearly hear there's a bit too much reverb there, yeah? Now, if we dampen it down, we take out some of those high ends, we take out some of the low ends. Actually, we've got ozone 8 on this as well. I don't know if my system's dying by running this. Hopefully it's not. But let's play it back with the EQ on it and you'll see a big difference, okay? So play it back now. I got too much common sense, yeah. Lesson or a curse, I don't know no more. I can see the light you're showing is pretend, yeah. Why give me your word if it's worthless? Lies gonna lie, that's their purpose. All my friends are dead, all my friends are dead, yeah. Ooh, I wrote out my meds, it went to my head. So, as you can hear, you probably can't even notice the reverb too much. Like, it's subtle. And that's how reverb's supposed to be. It's supposed to add some subtle nuance, some presence to make you feel like, you know, I'm actually performing in a room and whatnot. It's not supposed to be slathered over. It's not supposed to be like, you know, someone just put a bucket of peanut butter over me and that all you can see is peanut butter. There should be a little bit of peanut butter on my cheek or whatever, yeah? So, I don't know who puts peanut butter in the cheek. I don't know what reference that is to. But basically, you get what I'm saying, innit? EQing, very, very important for your reverbs. If you don't do that, your reverbs are gonna be all over the gaff and it's just gonna be harder to get your reverb to sit in the mix and to not get in the way of everything else, okay? Now, next thing we have with your reverb is basically setting your reverb so that it fades out before the next line and it cuts out before the next word. So in order to do this, there's maths involved, okay? And this is something that I got from another YouTuber. I believe he's called Help Me Out Devon. Great channel, you should definitely check him out. He's got a video all about reverb. And in his video, he basically gave the cheat codes to the reverb times and how to calculate reverb times and how to get your reverbs right every time. And it's all about BPM, milliseconds, and that sort of stuff. So first of all, the number 60,000 should be written down ASAP. Write it down now, okay? 60,000 divided by the BPM of your song equals the quarter note of your song, okay? And when you have this information, you can then apply this to your reverb, which I've already done. So let me give you an example. Gotta do the maths on my phone because I'm not doing 60,000 divided by anything in my head. 60,000 divided by 151 equals 397. Not 3,000. So we got 397, which would have been what I set as the decay, but I've actually just turned it down from there. It's not all the way there because that was a bit too much and I wanted to make sure that the reverb was gone before the next line, so I brought it down a little bit, but that was a good starting point. And then in order to get the pre-delay, basically you just want to divide that number by 2 until you get under 100 milliseconds. So as you can see, my pre-delay is 98 milliseconds, and what this means is when the vocals is coming in, like when I say the first word, I got too much common sense, yeah. When I'm saying the reverb doesn't kick in straight away. It kicks in 98 milliseconds after the vocal comes in. So the whole line, the whole vocal isn't slathered in reverb, it has enough time for the transients, the words to kick through, and then the reverb to support it in the background, which is really helpful. So that's the main thing. Basically 60,000 divided by the BPM gets you the quarter note of the song, and then you can continually divide that by 2. When you divide it by 2 the first time, you're going to get an 8th note. Divide it by 2 again, you get the 16th note. Divide it by again, you get the 32nd note. And you basically just want the reverb to go away before the next line of your vocals. And the way you do this is you turn your reverb super high. Like right about now, my main vocals are feeding into my reverb, but it's feeding in at a reasonable level. When I'm actually mixing this, I'm trying to find the right levels. This is all the way to the right. Now I'm not going to do that now because it's going to take ages for me to, you know, come back and make sure that it's at the right place, but I just wanted to give you that information. Okay, now you can, as I said before, you know, if you are recording in at the wrong BPM, that's going to make a lot of your effects mess up. And the way to fix this is by using this formula. By using the 60,000 divided by your BPM formula, you can find the quarter note to apply that to your delay. You can find the 8th note to apply that to whatever you want to apply that to, and so on and so forth. Actually, did I divide this by 2 and get to the 8th note? Is that why I'm at 240? Nah, I must have, I must have just brought it back a little bit. I had it at the 397 or 3 whatever and brought it back until it was where it needed to be. So yeah, use the maths equation to deal with your decay and all that sort of stuff if you find yourself recording into a session at the wrong BPM, because the thing with that is if you try and change the BPM, everything just messes up from here. You need to basically get everything right, or basically comp everything down to an audio file and then bring it to a new session, which is what I'm going to do when I get to the next stage and do some real mixing. This is just a draft basically, and I wanted to get all this right so that I could go to the next stage and start getting real. So basically we've done that. The next part, very important, the next mistake. But before we get into that, I want to give you a free gift, because you got this far into the video, and this is going to help you out a lot. You're an artist, you want to make music, you want to make money from your music. I'm assuming if you don't want to make money from your music, okay, great, good for you, this is a hobby. But for you serious artists, I'm talking to you right about now. I've got 5 free beats, 5 of my best beats that you can download right now. Link is in the description, or go to jcarterray.com/free beats. You can use these beats to monetize your songs. You make songs over them, upload them to Spotify, Apple Music, what have you. All the information and whatnot is on the download page, so just click on the link in the description, follow the instructions, and you'll be sent all the information in due time. Watch the video on the download page so you can understand the rights that you get. These all come with basic licenses for all 5 of the beats, which is generally about $30. It's $29.95 on my site, so you're getting all that for free. It's a really nice deal. Grab it ASAP before this is no longer available. Link is in the description. Now let's get back into the third mistake. Now the third mistake we have is not EQing your vocals properly. EQing your vocals is super, it makes a big difference. Yeah, it's super important. Now I'm gonna walk through my basic EQ, and let's turn this plate reverb back on and whatnot, and let's go through my EQ, and you can see what's going on. Now I use Nectar 3 for my vocal mixing, and the thing with Nectar 3 is it does come with vocal assistant, so you can run that on your vocals and it will basically give you a automated EQ. But I like to go in and do this sort of stuff myself. But you can get a good starting point using Nectar's vocal assistant and then go in and then mess with the stuff and get it exactly where it needs to be. Okay, what's going on here is I've got a low cut to about 100. Where is this actually? 99. So nearly 100. I've got a low cut, a low shelf, and then what I've done, first of all, remove the low end. The reason why you want to remove the low end is because it's going to interfere with your bass, your drums, that sort of stuff. You need to get rid of that. You don't need it. It's just going to make everything sound muddy. Then you want to get rid of bad frequencies in your voice. Like, everyone's got a different voice, everyone's got different frequencies that make things sound bad, that they don't like. And the way to do this is you need to basically sweep your vocals. So if we make this a very, very small Q band, we can basically put this like this and sweep along to hear where the bad frequencies are. And let me show you that in action. Okay, so oh no, why would you do that to me? No, I've accidentally just changed this plugin, so I'm gonna have to reopen the whole session. Give me a sec. Okay, here we are. Now that break was more annoying to me than it was to you. It was probably seamless to you, maybe even like nothing ever occurred, but it did. Let's come back to it in our EQing session. Let's cue this up. So I'm just scrolling down on my mouse wheel in order to get this Q lower, but you can do this with FL, you know, F3 parametric EQ and that sort of stuff. You don't need the Nectar EQ, but Nectar comes with Vocal Assistant, which will do the EQing for you, and then you can go in and do more. So, and it comes with all these other things. So I definitely suggest grabbing Nectar as soon as possible. Link will be in the description and all that sort of stuff. And when my vocal mixing template is out, it will include all my settings that I use for Nectar and all that sort of stuff, and that will be in the description. When that's ready, I need to make, I think, this song and then the next song to quality assure it, to make that available to you so that you can use that and have your vocals just clean. You won't have to worry about doing all this sort of stuff. Basically, you only have to worry about going in and changing it to your vocal, and for each specific song, just going in and twisting stuff around, but it will just make everything quicker for you. So let me play this back. Let's come over here and we'll sweep along the vocal spectrum so you can see what's going on.
Lesson or a curse, I don't know no more.
You hear that?
I can see the lawyer showing this pretend, yeah.
Let's actually just play the main vocals, so I need to turn this off for a second.
I got too much common sense, yeah. Lesson or a curse, I don't know no more.
There's like a ringing going on here, so I took that out.
I got too much common sense, yeah.
Around here, there's extreme boxiness.
I got too much common sense, yeah. Lesson or a curse, I don't know.
So I took that out.
I got too much common sense, yeah. Lesson or a curse,
and I think
don't
there was
know.
like some bass artifacts over there as well, so I took that out. So basically, you just need to sweep along your vocals and see what's up. These, I believe these were done automatically by the EQ, and I just left it there. We've got a dip at 3K, a dip around 10K, and 6K is basically, you know, left. And then we've got another EQ after the de-esser, which the de-esser is basically kind of like an EQ with a compressor, but that's something for another day. With this EQ, we've cut out the low end again, just in case, just to make sure. And we've got another dip around 300. And then we start boosting around 1,000. And we just have like a shelf over here, which basically just gives us some more high end. Now, if we turn these EQs off, we can show you the difference. So let me play a few lines with no EQ, then I'll play the first EQ, then I'll add the second EQ onto it, then I'll turn off the first EQ and let you hear the second EQ, just so you can hear what all the EQs are doing, basically, okay? Let's play.
I got too much common sense, yeah. Lesson or a curse, I don't know no more. I can see the lawyer showing this pretend, yeah.
So a little bit muddy, you know, not super clean. Now if we add the first EQ, which remember is this, it sounds like this.
I got too much common sense, yeah. Lesson or a curse, I don't know no more. I can see the lawyer showing this pretend, yeah.
A little bit cleaner. Now if we add the second EQ, we get to this.
I got too much common sense, yeah. Lesson or a curse, I don't know no more. I can see the lawyer showing his pretend, yeah. Why give me your word if it's worthless? Lies gonna lie, that's their
Way
purpose.
cleaner, way cutting through the mix a whole lot more because we got that high end in there. And if we just got the second EQ, this is what it sounded like.
I got too much common sense, yeah. Lesson or a curse, I don't know no more. I can see the lawyer showing his pretend, yeah.
It sounds okay, but with both of them,
I got too much common sense,
sounds
yeah.
way better. Sounds less like I'm just boosting high ends and more like I've got a full complete vocal. Now with this, I didn't turn off my fruity parametric EQ, which comes after all these effects, which is basically just another cut through the, like a low shelf cut. I believe this is a low shelf, yeah, a low shelf cut to 150 hertz, which just gets rid of that low end again. So I'm quickly just gonna play the vocals with no EQ whatsoever, so you can kind of just hear what it sounds like raw.
I got too much common sense, yeah. Lesson or a curse, I don't know no more. I can see the lawyer showing his pretend,
There
yeah.
you can hear that bass coming through. You can hear the meat and potatoes of that vocal coming through, which, you know, sounds fine when you're listening to it in solo like this. But when you start bringing in, you know, the beat and whatnot, and you're trying to mix around it, and you're trying to hear those 808s, and you're trying to hear stuff hitting, it starts to create a problem. So let's see if we can listen back with no EQ and see if there's a big difference.
I got too much common sense, yeah. Lesson or a curse, I don't know no more. I can see the lawyer showing his pretend, yeah. Why give me your word if it's worthless? Lies gonna lie, that's their purpose. All my friends are dead, all my friends are dead, yeah. Ooh, I wrote out my mans, it went to my head.
Like, the frequencies are basically stealing the frequencies from the bass and stuff. It's a little bit muddy over there. Let's put all the EQs back on and we'll play it back.
I got too much common sense, yeah. Lesson or a curse, I don't know no more. I can see the lawyer showing his pretend, yeah. Why give me your word if it's worthless? Lies gonna lie, that's their purpose. All my friends are dead, all my friends are dead, yeah. Ooh, I wrote out my mans, it went to my head. This ain't
But I've got to add a disclaimer there that obviously this is just a 2-track WAV of the beat, so I can't really see what's going on and mix around it properly with like the 808s and all that sort of stuff. So it's not ready for full mix here. This is just my template that I'll fling on, and everything will basically be where it needs to be for me to record and all that sort of stuff. And then when I get to the mixing process, I'll get deeper in and see what needs to be done. Like, it's sounding very, very high end heavy here. I might need to bring that high end down a little bit depending on how I want it to sound. Depending on the reference tracks, you got to use reference tracks as well. That's a very big mistake a lot of people make. They don't use reference tracks, but I've given you all 3 mistakes in this video. I don't want to now continue down the line and give you way more mistakes, because this video was supposed to be way shorter than it is. I didn't expect it to take as long as it did to film, but I believe that this is going to give you a lot of great insight into how to mix your vocals and how to make your songs sound better by avoiding these mistakes, by fixing them, and by doing things better, basically. Now, question of the day is, what do you use? What mic do you use to record your vocals? I want to know. I think that's going to be very, very interesting. In addition to your mic, what audio interface do you use? Because I'm thinking about getting a new one, and I want to know what you are using at the moment, because I might want to use that too. Let me know what you think of it, all that sort of stuff in the comment section down below. Remember, those 5 free beats available, link in the description. Go to jcarteray.com/beats. And if you have any questions, any other tutorials you want me to make, please leave those in the comment section down below. I would love to help out. And in the next video, you'll learn more about music, online business, online marketing, as well as, you know, my vocal mixing template will be in the description at some point when it's ready. So if you want to basically have your vocals set up, sounding clean as fast as possible. It's only for FL Studio though. Download that template, apply it to your songs, and you'll be able to get some nice sounding vocals really quickly, instead of putting out songs that sound like trash, which will just hurt you in terms of your self confidence, because you're gonna be putting out songs that just sound bad even if you did a great job on it. Like, getting your vocals right is really important. It's a very big part of making a good song, so make sure that you're focusing on getting that right. I hope this video helped you out. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.